Hey guys, Iron Wolf here, back with another, actually this is the last video in my build order series for version 0.3 of Hyrule Conquest. I hope you guys have enjoyed my video so far. Hopefully in future versions of the game I'll be able to, make some more for you guys, and that doesn't mean I'm not making any more videos, but I will be done making my build order series and I will move on to other projects with Hyrule Conquest. So today I'll be talking about a very popular faction, which is the Gohma. The Gohma are a faction that I had heard from a lot of different people. They were telling me, yo, the Gohma isn't that strong. I don't think they're very good at all. And so I messed around with them, and at first I didn't think they were very good at all. But after a little bit of messing around, I think they're very, very strong. A very strong early game faction, very rush and aggressive heavy faction. Outside of that, I haven't found that many strengths with them. Outside of they in a 2v2s, I believe the Gohma are the best faction in the game in 2v2s. They have really, really good team support, like really good team synergy. So they're a must-have in a team game. So this build order that I'll be talking about today is called Hard Aggro, Pincers and Spinals. It's a very standard, just hard aggro, just harass your opponent, don't let them breathe and all that kind of build. So I hope you guys really enjoy. I've had a lot of people asking me about this build, so I've finally been able to get around to, talking about it and analyzing the video. So as always, I will leave a link to the text-based version of this build and a copy of the replay if you're interested, as well as a link to my previous build order videos. So let's get into it. I think this faction is very, very strong early. Definitely one of the stronger ones. Them and the Kokiri are very strong. Alright, so this is one of the more unique factions in the game. So they have their own unit. They have a unit that builds. They have a unit that builds other troops. Or they have a unit that builds buildings, a unit that builds troops, and then another unit that gathers things. So it's pretty interesting. So this is our Gohma Queen. She, lays eggs, and they turn into larvae, which we can upgrade into different types of Gohma units. These are our harvesters. This is our regular gatherer unit. And then we have the Gohma Hive Keeper. This is our builder. So right off the bat here, all four of our harvesters are going to be going onto the food. Our Hive Keeper is going to build a drop-off site, a vacuole. I think that's to pronounce a vacuole. Anyway, he builds a drop-off right next to the wood. While you're doing that, you're going to have your Gohma Queen go and build 5 Gohma eggs over by the wood. Um, your your soldier larvae that you start out with, you can just have them scout or do whatever you would like to do with them. They're not too necessary right now. So as soon as the eggs are planted by the Gohma Queen, you're gonna want to turn them into harvesters, all 5 of them, and these harvesters are gonna immediately go onto the wood. See, right as the egg gets planted, I'm producing a harvester. Same thing here. And something that's really handy about the Gohma Queen is that she can help build things. So she can help out the Hive Keeper when she's not, building any units or anything, which is very handy. It's going to be very important for this build. So the 5 Gohma that come out of those initial egg drops are going onto the wood. After the drop off goes up, your Hive Keeper is going to build 2 fly traps, which is the farm. So after he gets this up, 2 farms, and your Gohma Queen is going to help him, but first she's going to lay 2 more eggs, and these eggs are going to be the workers that go on these farms the moment they get up. So after these 2 farms are built, let me speed it up a bit because the build time for this faction takes a little while. So you see, as soon as that farm gets built, one of the workers or the harvesters is going on to there. I know it's not good to have idle units, but you can't really do much here because the eggs are planted and produce units so fast that you just might as well. Alright, so as soon as those 2 farms go up, those 2 units are going to be going on to the farms. your hive keeper is going over here to build a hive node. Hive nodes are very handy. Not only do they give you a bunch of extra territory, but they are extremely cheap, and they give you an extra 5 population. Very, very useful, useful building. So after you get the 2 farms up, thanks to your Gohma Queen and your hive keeper is going to build a node right over here. It can be over, I mean, it doesn't have to be over there. It can be over here. Just try to do it in the direction of where you might want to have your next wood line. Because on the Gerudo Desert especially, this wood line right here will be gone very soon. So just keep that in mind. So after that, he's going there. Gohma Queen, planting 5 more eggs. These eggs are going to produce harvesters, just like we were doing over here. And these harvesters are also going onto the wood. So you see, as soon as the egg goes down, I'm building a harvester, putting him onto the wood. You see here it creates more of this blight right here. It reminds me of the undead from Warcraft 3, one of my favorite factions. So these 5 Gohma that are coming out of the eggs right there, they are also going onto the wood. So you'll have 10 harvesters on the wood, 4 on the berries or the cocos, whichever you were gathering from, and then 2 on the farms. So after this node is built, and these Gohma from the eggs go onto the wood, you're gonna do the same thing you did over here. Gohma Queen lays 2 eggs; those are gonna produce harvesters, and then you're building 2 more of the fly traps, which is the farm. You see here, she lays those eggs, helps get these things up. Eggs are producing harvesters any moment now. I really like the aesthetic of the Gohma. It's very it reminds me a lot of the Zerg from StarCraft, which I really enjoy. So you see here we got these harvesters up. As soon as these fly traps go up, alright, harvester going onto the fly trap. Once this one goes up, same thing here. Alright, goes on there. So you've got 4 fly traps up. Alright, so now at this point you're going to be aiming to tech, because you're going to need to tech early so that you can get the nursery up as soon as possible. So you see here we're at 3 minutes 15 seconds. You can probably squeeze this down to 3:10 or maybe even 3. If you're you're really try hard and focusing and paying attention to your micro and everything. So after we get these 2 farms right here and those 2 workers on the farm, our hive keeper here is going to build another node, and our queen is going to build a hive cell. This is the regular house for the Gohma. So you're just gonna, because the Gohma queen can't like queue it up, what you're gonna want to do with the hive worker or hive keeper is build a node and then queue up the house so that the Gohma queen can go start working on that while he's on the node. So you're going to be saving your resources. Let me switch to this. You're going to be saving your resources to tech. You just need to get these up so that you have the resource or the minimum buildings in order to tech, as well as some population cap. In the current version of the game, eggs ignore population. Planting eggs from the Gohma Queen ignore population, but later when you get your nursery up, you won't be able to build. Let's say you just build a bunch of eggs with your queen and go way over your population cap. When you get your nursery up and you can start producing groups of eggs, it won't let you do it. So don't cap yourself out. That's a rule of thumb with every faction, but I just needed to let you know so that some people, might be like, oh, this is broken because you can just ignore the population cap. But no, you always got to keep that in mind. So you see here, we get the house up, get the hive node up, getting really close to 500 resources so that we can start teching. As soon as we do, yep, there we go, there's the tech. Alright, we're going to be building some more farms in just a moment. Just like we did here, 2 eggs and 2 farms. So the Gohma Queen's going to lay those eggs. As soon as we get 100 materials, farms going up, as you see here. These harvesters, just like over here, are also going onto this farm. We have now reached tier 2, which is very good, hitting this around the 430 mark. First farm goes up, harvester goes on there. As soon as this goes up, we'll continue. Alright, so that farm's done. Harvester goes on the farm. Here's what happens next. So I'm having the Gohma Queen at this point plant 5 more eggs. Unlike before, where these eggs would used to be harvesters, we're actually turning them into soldier larvae. At this point, we're gonna start building our army, so we can start harassing and rushing our opponent. So as soon as you get that farm up there, so you should have 6 farms at this point, you are going to need a lot of food, as this faction is a very important resource. You're gonna build the 5 eggs with the Gohma Queen, and those are all 5 are gonna turn into soldier larvae. And then your hive keeper is gonna come over here and build another house. Speed this up a bit. So you see here, as soon as those eggs are done getting soldier larvae. Whoops. There we go. So now at this point, we should have 7 soldier larvae, because remember we started with 2. Or, you know, depending on the map, you may have more. So at this point, you're going to wait till you have 400 materials, and you're going to build this right here, Solarium Nursery. This is a very good building. You see, as soon as I have the resources, getting both these units working on it. What it lets me do is it lets me build eggs in groups. So I can queue up 5 eggs right here and it'll just produce them without me having to use my queen. So thankfully we can use our queen for building more now that we have this up. So our 7 soldier larvae here, this is, you know, where a big part of the build starts to come in. There's two main types of soldier larva upgrades you're going to want to look into. The first one being this one right here. Oh, whoops. What turns them into, let me click one. The pincer Gohma, and then the other one that turns them into the spinal Gohma. You're going to want a mix of both in your army early in the game. Very, very strong light, you know, assault unit. It's very good. Very fast, very strong. Does good damage. Very good unit. So this first group we're putting out here, we're turning into pincers. The next group we bring out are going to turn into spinals. So you see here, as soon as the nursery goes up, getting 5 more eggs. Also, I will mention you can choose. It depends on how aggressive you want to be, but I was trying to play very aggressive with this build because that's how I feel like you should play this faction. So as soon as I got those 7 pincers, I started moving over towards my opponent's base to start harassing their economy. After you get the nursery up, you're going to build 5 eggs, and then your queen is going to lay 5 eggs as well. And then your hive keeper is going to work on another house. These eggs are also turning into soldier larvae, just keep that in mind. Our pincers here are about to go start harassing our opponent. And try not to lose it. When you're harassing, try your best to micro where you don't lose any units. If you can, you know, even if it's only like 1 unit, maybe 2, if you can just snipe out, you know, a few units of your opponents and still keep all of yours, you don't overcommit. Don't feel like you need to push your attack. Just kill some units and then just, you know, go back to base. Like don't overcommit. Um, that's a big part of playing this faction is like understanding when you should and shouldn't go in, because going in is such a crucial part with this faction. So you see, we get these 5 soldier larvae here from these eggs. These ones are going to be turning into spinals, or spinal Gohma as they're called here. Okay. So let me review a couple things. I know the last couple interactions may have been a little confusing. So after we got this nursery up, or before we had the nursery up, we got the 5 eggs from the Gohma Queen. Those turn into soldier larvae. Then we get the nursery up, which builds a group of 5 eggs. All our soldier larvae are going towards our enemy's base. While they're heading over there, go ahead and have them start upgrading into pincers or spinels, whichever you'd like to go with first. I prefer pincers first. And then you're going to want to build another 5 eggs with your queen. And from your nursery, just continue to build groups of eggs. It's very cheap to do. Just always have eggs in the queue, for sure. Also, after your nursery goes up, with your keeper, he's going to build a house, and then come over here and build another node. I hope that all made sense to you. If not, be sure to check out the text-based version I linked in the description. So you see here, these ones are now Spinal Gohma. We're going to be merging them with our main army very soon. You see here, I did some damage. I took out a couple of, my opponent's soldiers, and we're going to come back. I got these eggs out here, as you see. Let me slow it down. Okay. Now, at this point, you're going to be building a whole bunch of things. You've been mostly spending food, so you've been building up a lot of resources. So at this point, you see here, this wood line is very, very, very depleted. You're going to want to build another drop off towards your next wood line at this point, whether it be over here or over here. As soon as after you get the nursery up, you get the house, then the node, and then you're getting a new wood line. You can start moving these workers over there, or not those ones, these workers right here, over there as soon as possible. Remember, always producing groups of eggs from your nursery and upgrading them into spinels and then pincers and then spinels and then pincers, back and forth, back and forth. So you have a good mix. It doesn't have to be perfectly balanced, but, try to have a general, even amount between the two. So you're going to have your building group, which is the queen and the hive keeper. They're going to build this drop off over here. But once they're done, they're going to be building 4 farms. The reason for that being the 4 workers or the 4 harvesters that you started the game with at this point have definitely cleared the berries and are probably moving on to the wildlife. You're going to want to build these farms so that when they're done with the wildlife, they have something to go and do to produce more food. So you see here they're killing the cuckoos. Drop off's about to go up. I've got my spinels and my pincers reunited. They're going up there for another harass. Building more groups of eggs. More soldier larvae. Try to get upgrades to pincers or spinels as soon as possible. As soon as food allows, try to get that. As you see here, as soon as I had the food, upgrading them into pincers. Harassing my opponent again, just trying to pick off a couple of his units. Generally speaking, you may not want to go for soldiers. You may try to circle around and snipe a couple of their workers, but it's completely up to you what you want to do. You see here, I'm moving my workers up from this wood line, from my old wood line to this new one up here. These farms are going up, as I mentioned before. So those 4 workers that I started the game with, while I was building these, they finished clearing the cuckoos, so I put them on the rupees for a little while, just as, something that they can do. Because you do not need ore as this faction. Ore is an irrelevant resource, for the most part. Generally speaking, you just don't need it with this faction at all. So don't be too concerned about mining ore at the moment. So putting them on rupees while they're waiting for these farms to go up is a pretty good idea. So you see here, got these going up. Taking one off of there because his farm is ready, as you see here. As I'm building my soldier larvae and upgrading them, like the groups, I'm sending the groups to reunite with my main force. Whether I'm over here harassing or I'm scouting around and whatnot. Still producing eggs, as always. Soon you're going to be wanting to get your hero, so keep an eye out on that. So let me talk about the heroes while it's fresh in my mind. So the Gohma have very, very good heroes. So generally speaking, with this build in particular, And with the in general 1v1 matches with the Gohma, you're gonna want to go with Solkaris. Sometimes you may want to go with Mido though. But generally speaking, Solkaris is the stronger, hero in 1v1s. But like I said, you can also go Mido. Agatha, so Agatha in 1v1s is a waste of a character slot. Never pick this hero in 1v1s. It's a terrible idea. You are just you are handicapping yourself by doing that. Um, but in team games, always pick this character or this hero. Um, if you're playing, 2v2s, 3v3s, whatever. If you're playing any kind of team game and you're playing as the Gohma, always go with Agatha. This is what I was saying earlier about the Gohma being a very good support faction uh, in team games. You'll go for an early market and get Agatha out, start really ramping your economy and helping your teammate out. Actually, she can build things as well, which is really handy. So you can have two builders, or actually three, because your Gohma Queen can build things as well. So you can have three builders that also functions as a merchant. Um, so it's really handy for supporting your teammates in team games. So I would definitely always recommend play Agatha if you're playing any kind of team game. The Matriarch, okay, so the Matriarch is good, but only in this really gimmicky uh, strategy that I kind of figured out with the Gohma. It's a huge gamble. I'll probably make a video on it later. It's basically a Zerg rush, but Zelda, so it sounds pretty dope. I know. But that's the only time you'll want to go with Matriarch. So generally speaking, in 1v1s, you will go with Mido or Sokaris, and then in any kind of team game, you will go with Agatha. So anyway, back to what I was saying before with this build. 4 farms. Pulling the harvesters off the rupees here to go onto these farms. Still harassing my opponent. Just trying to, cause as much of a nuisance over here that I can. As you see here, at this point, around or a little bit before, 10 minutes, you're going to want to get your hero out. As you see here, I'm going with Solkaris. But as soon as, close to, 9:30 seconds, like 9 minutes, 30 seconds, 10-minute mark, you want to start saving to get that hero out so she can, Solkaris or Mido, whoever you pick, can start boosting your team or your soldiers. Still producing eggs though. You don't always have to hatch the eggs right away, just make sure that you are always producing eggs. So long as you have eggs like being built or out, you are doing fine. So don't, stress too much. See here, we've got this pretty sizable army causing a ruckus in our enemy's base, going in, killing things, and then running out. A really nice thing about the Gohma, they can capture buildings very easily and very fast. So a lot of the time what I'll do is I'll find a very weak building, run up to it, capture it really quick before my opponent can really do much about it, and then I will click the building and hit the destroy selected units or buildings as soon as I have captured it, and it'll just destroy the building. The reason for that being, you can run in, take the building over, and then run out and then destroy it before they can regain control of it. Because you can destroy the building if you have more than half of the like the rally points or whatever on the building. So if you just take it over, destroy it, and then run out, that's really annoying for your opponent to deal with. It really hurts their economy and base building. So you see here we got Solkaris out. I'm grouping her up with some of these soldier larvae. I'm waiting to get the food so that I can upgrade them, but it's not that big of a deal. By the time they get there, they should be upgraded. Still producing eggs, as always. Okay, so at this point, after you've gotten these farms up with your building team, I've been talking a lot about this army and what you want to do as far as units and heroes and whatnot, but let's get back to, the building part of this build. So after you get these 4 farms up, you're going to want to build another house, a second house, and then you're going to want to get a market. You're going to need this market. This market is going to be very handy for you. Because the reason you need the market is because you're going to have at this point in the game, you're going to have a bunch of extra materials because the only buildings you'll be really needing is, in all honesty, is houses and then maybe some defensive structures. So you are going to have a lot of material left over, even rupees too, if you have workers on that, or whatever you have workers on. Everything but food, you will basically have a surplus of a lot of the time with this faction. So you need to get this market up around this point so that you can start trading things in for food so that you can pump out these Gohma and upgrade them a little bit faster. Because you're going to be struggling, trying to balance, producing eggs, hatching the eggs, and then upgrading the units into, spinals and pincers. That's going to be using a lot of food. So you might struggle a little bit, but once you get that market up, it becomes very, very easy and very simple. See here, Solkara is coming with these Gohma. Such a cool hero. I really like that hero. But at this point, honestly, that's pretty much the build. You get this market up, and then you just continue to produce eggs and soldier larvae, and pincers and spinals. That's really the build, honestly. At this point, you just want to harass constantly. Don't let your opponent breathe. If you're letting your opponent get any, bit of wiggle room, even if they've beaten back, your rushes a bunch of times, the Gohma, they don't stop in the lore, so they shouldn't stop, during a match either. Just unrelenting aggression and just don't let them breathe. Just completely smother your opponent. Because if you do that, you're gonna be taking their attention away from their resources, built them microing, building their army and whatnot. So it's very handy. So just always be trying to harass your opponent and keep them on their toes at least. As the Gohma, it's a good thing to have. You see here, Solkara's buffs, or her buffs and debuffs are very, very nice. The fact that Gohma can attack a little bit after they've died is pretty crazy. Also, her attack speed debuff to opponents are really nice as well. But like I said, this is about it. As soon as you get this market up, that's pretty much the build. Let me speed things up a bit just so you can see. You see, I do a lot of hit and run. I'll go in, kill a couple units, then run out, and then wait for my opponent to get situated, and then I'll run back in, kill some more units, and then head back out. You see this? I'm trading a bunch of things for like here, I traded a bunch of rupees. I'm trying to get food so I can start getting these upgrades out faster. And our army is slowly growing as we get these groups and upgrade them. We're sending them up here to the front lines. But yeah, that's pretty much the Gohma in a nutshell. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. It took me a little while to get around to making it, but I really hope that you guys enjoyed it, and it's very helpful. I know this is a very popular faction, and a lot of people have been asking me about it. As I said before, I will link the text-based version of this build in the description, as well as a replay of this match if you care to, look over it and do your own kind of analysis. Yeah, I will also leave a link to previous builds and my Discord. So feel free to join the Discord. We talk a lot about this game and whatnot. It's very good discussion a lot of the time. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask in the comments or in Discord, whichever you prefer, and I will try to get back to you as fast as I can. I usually try to answer comments as fast as possible. So, well, I'll see you guys in the next video.